On the real, it all started, man. I was 16 years old, and man, I was watching a TV program, man. I don't recall what it was, but I really wasn't watching it. But I was like, you know how you doing something else, and you just hear the TV, something in the background, and and when I was listening to the program, kind of sort of, man, it was tripped out, but I heard that a brother say that the black man was God, and it was a powerful concept that I had never even thought of as a possibility in my life. Now, I mean, I'm not going to go off into whether or not that's what I personally believe and all that. What I'm saying is that it cracked open a possibility that I never came across in my life. And at that point, it opened me into, okay, well, what else is out here that I don't know that could be true or could have have an impact on my thinking? And at that point, man, I started reading and knowledge and things of that sort. And I think it started with, just self-knowledge, getting knowledge of self, recognizing that as a black man, you have a purpose in this life. As black people have a purpose. They have had a tremendous and critical impact on all history. You know what I'm saying? And as I learned these things, man, it was like it changed my life because it changed my thinking. And so I thought that through education, if it could change my life, it could change other people's life and their thinking. You see what I'm saying? I mean, because grow up in Detroit, I've been in Detroit, all my life, man. You look at the fact that these cats, man, the dope game. I don't think there's one black man in this country that ain't never thought about getting in the dope game. Or I go further than that. Ain't never tried. You see what I'm saying? And then I think we all had these pipings about being a rap star, a musician, making it big on the movies, and which is all good, man. I got love for brothers who got that hustle and they trying hard for that. But the other side of that is, okay, we've been doing it, but look at the state of Black America. It's still the same way. It's the same way because although we have changed our lifestyles, we haven't necessarily changed our thinking. And I think that's why I wanted to get an education, man, because I think it started the thinking, and it's only when you change a man's thought process can you really change his actions. And we got Jay-Z and Nas and a lot of these hip hop artists, man. Them cats became rappers, got successful, and their thinking didn't change till they got successful. It's like, you would have asked Jay this question 20 years ago. Hey Jay, what about getting clean water for Africa? He'd have been like, what? Forget Africa. It's all about Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? He said that. But now, he building, water pipes in Africa, something like that?
Right.
Because he didn't know. And simple things like that could change a man's thinking. And so, in the media, they don't talk about that a lot. They don't talk about the great things that, that these so-called thugs are doing, for the human family. Just not for black folk, but for the human family. And I think that, as educators, myself, and being a part of that same generation, it's my responsibility to bring that to them and educate them. So that's what I'm passionate about, and that's why I chose to be in education, and that's what keep me going. You mean no Negro child left behind, or Negro child lost and buried? You know what I'm saying? It's brother, look, no child left behind, or once again, Negro children lost and buried. Man, it's a political statement, man. That's all it is. I mean, it has some decent qualities about it. We start talking about accountability. We start talking about teacher preparation and things of that sort, and national standards and all that. Okay, that's all fine and great. But then it doesn't address the real disparity. It's attempting to, but it's not really addressing the real disparity of the issue. And so as we play with this No Child Left Behind issue, we find ourselves as principals and teachers, under a lot of pressure around proving to this federal government that we're doing what we're supposed to do. And a lot of that is measured around the test. You making this whole idea of adequate yearly progress, and this adequate yearly progress basically state that a certain percentage of your children got to be proficient in reading in math over a certain period of time. Okay, well, you're thinking in a vacuum, brother. I mean, you're thinking in a vacuum. Well, what about Johnny who don't know his parents or just lost his parents and living with grandmama who 80 years old? You know, what about the poor kids? You know, what about the kids that not only are speak a second language or English is their second language? What about those children who English is their first language and they still have a difficult time dealing with it? You know, and I think, and then lastly, I think that the No Child Left Behind issue really isn't dealing with what the real problem is. Okay, education is one of the cornerstones of the American democracy. Okay, and this American democracy, as we know it, hasn't always been fair to minorities. You see what I'm saying? And it haven't really been fair to genders either. You know, and the problem is why it hasn't been fair, because we got things like racism, prejudice, you know, terrorism, isms, all kind of isms, and these isms are still being pumped in the educational system. So you don't think these kids, you don't think racism still ain't being taught? And it could be indirect. They did a research study about that not too long ago. How racism, how, you know, teachers are still teaching racial scripts in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? And they thinking they teaching all the kids. They ain't teaching all the kids not with these racial scripts. You know, that you are unconsciously doing. You don't even think that you're doing it, but you are. You're like, oh, I got black friends. Well, you know, I got white friends. It's like, man, listen to what you're saying.
Right.
You know, why you just can't say I got friends? You know, what difference does it make?
Right.
But it does make a difference. Okay, and so it's almost like if I tell you that it's black, if I got a black friend, it's almost telling you that I'm okay and I'm not racist. You know, come on, man, please. You see what I'm saying? So that No Child Left Behind, yes, dealing with the testing, it's dealing with accountability, it's dealing with teacher preparation, the whole other slew of things, but it's not dealing with the racism that still exists in this country. It's not dealing with the severe gap that are caused by inequity and inequality. You know what I'm saying? So, but it'll be here. It'll be here tomorrow. It probably just won't be the same name. It'll be a different name. Man, you need a major restructuring plan. You know, that DPS is dealing with. I guess we could say DPS is primarily dealing with. I mean, you don't hear about Southfield closing schools. You don't really hear about Wayne Westland or Inkster closing schools. I mean, you know, they have, but you don't really hear about it. This is what how I feel about it. You know, I probably would have did the same thing, man. You know, when you start looking at how do you balance between, you know, how do you balance your budget? I mean, you know, education cost. You know, this ain't free. You know, ain't nothing free. You know, they call it public free education. It ain't free. You pay taxes for that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, problem with Detroit does have something to do with not just test scores, man, but it got a lot to do with, man, the tax base. You know, I mean, think about it, man. Who paying the taxes in the city if anybody own their homes? Okay. You also look at the fact that a lot of the violence and things that occur in the school, man. Who wants their kids to school where they think their child can get hurt, shot, things of that sort. And then also considering the situation where parents, man, they want the best thing for their children regardless to how they get it. That's just really the bottom line. You think about what's happening in our communities, man. Look at the stores that exist. Look at the options. They still going to these stores, man. Still going to them. And it's like, you know, and they're not rioting and picking and acting a fool when, you know, a store or a gas station don't give them the appropriate service. Guess what they do? They go to the next store. You know, you don't force McDonald's to buy you a Whopper. I mean, you know, make you a Whopper, you know, or if there's one Burger King that you go to, not making your food right, you don't pick it, you don't close it down. Guess what you do? You go to another store, another big Burger King, and this is exactly what's happening with DPS. People are dissatisfied or were dissatisfied with the quality of education that we're providing, the safety and things that were occurring, and so people said, hey, we got other options, we're going to exercise them. So they got charter schools, private schools, Montessori schools, man. Even some parents have even just went into, I'm going to homeschool my child. You know what I mean? And that's having an impact on enrollment. And what's the sake of having the building open when we only got 5 kids in it? So you got to restructure it to save, to save the budget, and to do what's going to be the greater, do what's going to be in the best benefit for the entire district. So it's like that. That's the way it is. Man, this is going out to all the parents, man. Bring your babies to school. I mean, for real. Make sure your baby get to school and get to have a lunch, man. You know what I mean? It's too many of y'all, man, downplaying the responsibility that come in getting education, man. Educating your child ain't about this major babysitting service. It's about changing lives and eventually changing the hood and changing the world. Bring your babies to school, man. Don't. I mean, I know that transportation or whatever it is, man, but you got to make it happen. You got to do what you got to do, because think about it. If you pump yourself up with all these excuses and pump your kid up with all them excuses about why he not going to school or why he don't need to do that, that's really continuing the cycle of lackluster behavior, lackluster effort. Because he gonna figure, because I don't got no car, I can't work. You serious? Man, you better get out there and grind. And some of these people, man, I'm telling you, some of these kids live up the street, ain't gonna walk to school because, they ride down. What? You know how many kids walk to school? The parents can't get together and say, okay, look, we're gonna create a parent network, and all of us gonna be outside at 8 o'clock on the corner to watch our kids get to school. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bring y'all kids to school and start making excuses why these kids can come to school, because that's important. Man.
Okay.
It affects a lot. You start seeing major effects of this right around 4th grade, man. When because a lot of these kids, man, these guys, these girls, when they going through them hormonal changes much earlier than what we was going through. What I mean? Your beard, my beard didn't grow this last week. You know what I'm saying? These kids growing it straight up 4th, 5th grade, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's like you got to cater to that early. And I check parents, man. I let them know, look, man, you got to make sure your baby comes to school and lunch. I give them uniforms like that, and and I go to our kids, man. Matter of fact, I think next week, some of the ladies teachers in my school are having a girls' night out etiquette event for all of the middle school girls. Talk about etiquette and how to behave and how to cleanliness and all that. Matter of fact, I had a representative from the DMC, I think, came out I know she came out a couple of weeks ago and talked to the girls, man, only about about cleanliness and hygiene and health and all that. Makes us important, because and a lot of times, man, the parents they're not telling them, they're not teaching it, for whatever the reasons are, they're not. And the kids are getting the information from the wrong sources. They learning about sex on YouTube, man. Right. They learn the sex on on TV and all these rap videos. And so, as far as these lazy parents, I don't call them lazy. Well, I guess I'm gonna call them, man. I'm just gonna call them, it's unfortunate. I'm gonna call the situation unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. I think that it's part of a cycle. Some people, it's like they know what's the better thing. They just don't know how to get it, man. And in their brain just ain't processing the thought of how to get it. It's almost like basketball. We understand like sports. Now I understand the concept of sports. Basketball, any sport, I understand the concept of it, but you can't quite honestly expect me to go out here and beat Kobe, because I understand what he do. I know what it take to win a game, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes there's a disparaging gap between what I understand and what I know how to do. You see, and that happens like that, man. Parents can have kids, but women and people can have kids, but they don't know how to raise them, because they still kids themselves, man. I got parents, man, that look better than their kids. Matter of fact, look younger than their kids, because that's what you can tell where their priorities are. Their priorities is about getting themselves right. and they think that this is gonna be better for their kids. You know, that whole trickle down effect, and it don't. Miseducation of the parents, miseducation of the Negro, and miseducation of, you know, these politicians. You know, matter of fact, miseducation of the Caucasian. I think we all, this whole society, man, has gotten a major miseducation because, you know, the inception of this country, man, wasn't about education, man. It wasn't. You know, it wasn't about that. It was about land ownership, man. It's about money. It ain't never been nothing but about money, you know. And who say you got to have an education to go get money?
Right.
You don't.
You don't.
So, you know, when we start talking about, you know, why people are the way they are, because we don't put that kind of, that ain't important to us. You know, it's about, man, it's about owning some land, making money off of it, and paying your taxes, and beating down, destroying anybody that even attempts to compromise that way of life for us, even if we never prove that there was any weapons of mass destruction in this country. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. And so it's a whole, so you're right, man. It is a whole process, a whole cycle of a whole bunch of miseducated people. And what's the most difficult and disappointing part about this thing, man, is the fact that they arrogant in their ignorance, man. You can't even tell them nothing. Can't tell them nothing, man. They don't even want to, because, you know, maybe they don't want to see it. They really, you know, I probably wouldn't want to see it too. But, you know, hey, that's how it is, man. And it's never going to change. It's not going to change until people start really re-educating. One, recognize they've been miseducated. And two, realize that if they're going to be educated, it is a choice that they got to make. Not something that an institution can force on them. You know what I mean? Bring your child to school and get educated. We ain't making hamburgers, man. It ain't that easy. You know? Okay. You're watching Cypher Chronicles DVD. This is Christopher Wise representing Real Talk FM, representing the city of Detroit, representing my school, representing all the black babies that's trying to do the best they can to get good grades in school. We out. Peace.